Welcome to WIFERSATIONS. Welcome to WIFERSATIONS. I am so glad to be back with you for this next series of conversations that we'll have here. This new series is going to be different interviews and conversations with my girlfriends, my friends, and even some people that I've just met recently. I'm going to call it the Value Series. I just want to let women know, and these women will also share with you how important it is to know that you are valued, and not just for what you do, but for who you are, right? And so in our conversations, we know that we can talk about anything. There's nothing left on the table. And so today I brought someone, or I have someone here with me who is not afraid to clear the table. We're leaving nothing. We cleared the table. She is my good friend. She's a wonderful, when I say wonderful, she is a wonderful, wonderful person. If I had to describe her, I would call her, and I say this all the time, she is the best researcher. She knows everything. And that she doesn't know, she has no problem finding out. She is always present. I cannot remember a time where I wanted to have her be present and she didn't show up if she was able to. And she's just always present. I love her family, her children, and definitely her husband. I'm just grateful for who she is. I appreciate what she's about, and I value what she brings to the table. I want to welcome you, Miss Brandy Webb. How are you?
I am good.
Thank you.
I am so happy to be here.
I know. I'm happy that you are here. Um, we're gonna just talk a little bit and just let God just flow. However He wants to move, that's what we want to do. But I'm happy to have her. Um, a few years ago, she had shared, one day we just got to get a little conversation episode together. And we were going to do it in a hot tub.
Right.
Because remember, she had a hot tub in her backyard. And she was like, we should do conversations right back here in this hot tub. And I said, yes. Of course, we didn't do it, but we probably eventually could one day, right? We could one day. But the point is, I appreciated that she wanted to be a part of this. And she's a valued wife. For real. Her husband loves her. His heart safely does trust her, right? As the scripture says. So, hey, Brandy, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you are here. I want you to just begin by telling people a little bit about you. Who is Brandy?
Who is Brandy? Brandy is a wife, of course. She is a mother of 4 children and a nana of 1 grandchild. A daughter. She's a girl. Her name's Lala, and I love her. She has my heart. All of it.
Okay, Nana.
Yes.
You're an entrepreneur.
I am an entrepreneur, and I'm new aspiring minister.
She is. She's a great friend. You are.
I am.
She's not only a friend to me. I know women who value her in a great way. So thank you for being here. I just believe that what you have to offer in conversations will be a blessing to this audience. And so I just want to get started. This question I'm going to ask, and I want you to just take it wherever you want it to go. What would you tell your teenage self?
I would say to teenage Brandy, ooh, that's deep. I would tell me to just embrace life as it is, and to just enjoy every moment. Value every experience that will come your way, and to just trust that everything will be okay. That's what I would say to teenage Brandy.
Okay. I mean, you have something in common.
Absolutely.
Well, we have a few things in common, but one thing is you were a teenage mom.
Absolutely.
I was a teenage mom. Tell me about your journey.
Ironically enough, of course, I know that's not something that anybody plans.
Right.
But yes, being a teenage mother, I was heavy into sports, so running track, cheerleading, and not finding out I was pregnant until I was almost 6 months.
Me either.
It
Yeah,
was
me too.
it was very eye opening.
Yep.
Like, oh, I'm about to, because
Did you find out, or did like your mom look at you and say, "Girl,
my mom,
yeah,
she said, she was like,
what's wrong with you?"
you haven't had a cycle.
Yeah.
And for me, I had just started those things. I was just happy to not have it. I didn't know that if it went away, it was
Right.
because of some kind of reason.
Lord.
So I had to go to parent planhood, and that's when they told me, and I was like, okay,
All
all
right.
right, well, I gotta go to school now. Like, I'm at school. I love school. So just having a child, it made me really grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew now someone else was relying on me. I mean, I wasn't a person that was out in the streets. Again, I was 15. I just did the normal stuff.
Mm.
Other than that,
Right. I mean, hey, that was normal to some,
right.
some, depending on.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I went to school. You know, my mom asked me if I wanted to change schools because there was a place here in Wisconsin called Lady Pitts. It's an alternative school for teenagers who had kids, and I was like, no, I'm want to finish school right here where I'm at.
Right.
And I did so, and I went to college. And I just took care of my child. My mom made sure, she said, you had this baby, so you
Right.
will take care of this baby.
Right.
So don't think you're gonna pawn it off on me if she cried in the middle of the night. I was up in the middle of the night. I worked a job.
I know.
And I did what needed to be done for me and my child.
That's good.
Yeah.
How old is your baby now?
She is 27.
Lord have mercy.
Old as dirt.
That's funny. My youngest is 27. The youngest.
Mm.
We old.
I wish my youngest was 27 and not 12.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And so, since we are WIFERSATIONS, that means you're married.
I am.
So, tell me about Mr. Webb. How did you guys? I told y'all this was gonna be fun. How did you guys meet?
We met many, many moons ago when one of my best friends, her guy friend at the time, he was in a car, and I knew them because they've been over there, and I seen it, somebody in his car, and I'm like, who is that in your car? He was like, that's my brother. I was like, your brother? Where you get a brother? He like, this is my big brother. I'm like, I don't even believe. Let me go over here and talk to him. So I went over to the car. He introduced himself as Willie. Well, he really said Junior because that's what we call him. And I was like, okay. I was like, nice to meet you. And it just clicked right then. Like we were just talking, and then we started.
What made you just like, I'm finna go over there? You don't even know him.
Cause that's the problem. My husband always said I ain't never met no stranger, so I needed to go meet whoever was in the car. I don't have a problem talking to people. She
shot her shot.
That's what they keep saying, but I don't have a problem talking to people.
She shot her shot.
I love talking to people,
especially handsome men.
But I didn't know he was handsome then. I just wanted to go meet Corey's big brother. Okay, it just happened to work out.
And since you met Corey big brother,
Corey now meets his brother's wife.
right.
And it just took off from there.
Y'all have a great story though. Do you want to give us like the short version of it?
Absolutely. So after meeting him, we began dating, and a couple months into our relationship, the person that he was seeing previous to me found out that she was pregnant, and because my man is a great man, and has always been a great man. He let me know that he had to be a father to his child, and so that we had to end the relationship. It hurt both of us down to the core, but I definitely respected that in the end that he wanted to be in his child's life. So we parted ways, and he went to be with her, and I continued on life sad because I didn't have him. But I respected that all the more. I would see him periodically when I would go down there. Um, and so I ended up meeting someone else. I got married, I moved away. Uh, that guy wasn't for me. I decided to move back here. When I got back here, I was about 7 months pregnant with my son. And just so happened, I was sitting on my mom's porch because Mr. Webb did not know I was back. And he came driving down the street. And he was like, "What are you doing back here?" I'm just like, "Oh, I'm visiting." But in my little old raggedy head, I'm good and pregnant, but my husband then was cheating and we were technically going through a divorce. I'm sitting here plotting in my head, talking about, "Oh, I could be with him, and I'm good and pregnant." But then, he had the conversation. I asked him how he was doing, and he said he was in the process of marrying his son's mama. And I said, "All right, I'm happy for you."
Monkey wrench. Threw a monkey wrench
I'm happy for you.
in your little daydream.
Correct. So
Right.
he went to be with her. I was still see him when I go grocery shopping at Cole's Food Store because that's where he worked at. Um, it wasn't working out with them. We continued to talk when I would go to the store. I must say he was a great friend, a great friend at all times. And literally, when his relationship started taking a turn, and we would talk about that, and I'd be like, "You got to figure out what you want to do because you're married, But that didn't work out. So once that started not working out with him, like with her, and we just sat and talked as friends and just thinking about, because he had a child, I then had two children, and it's like we didn't want to go into new relationships with other people.
Right.
Me being a single mother,
Right.
I didn't need anyone to say, "You just want my son to be a father to your kids."
Right.
And him, he just like, I'm gonna be a male hoe," and I'm just like, "You don't have it in you."
A male hoe?
That's what he said. He doesn't have it in him. He doesn't have it in him whatsoever. And I was like, "You don't do that just because
you talked him out of being a male hoe."
I did.
Okay. Go on.
I'm gonna say God talked because he don't have it in him to be that.
Okay.
But just because he was hurt does not, you don't change your heart.
Right.
If you want love, you don't
just
change
because
your
you
heart.
hurt
Does not.
You don't change your heart. No, go on.
Because if you want love, you gotta be that. And so we were just looking at each other and was just like, we should get married to each other. And we both was like, okay. And I guess that was the proposal. 'Cause
18 years?
18 years later, here we are.
Wow.
Here we are.
Wow. And you were saying, one thing I know you had shared, that you guys had to go to the judge.
We did. So I love that man. We had set a date on the calendar that we were going to get married. And in the state of Wisconsin, you have to be divorced at least 6 months before you get married. Well, the date that we had on the calendar was 5 months and 29 days after he got his divorce.
Oh.
And so they said, "Well, you got to go to the judge or you can change your date." I said, "Sign us up for the judge, please."
Wow.
And they signed us up for the judge, and the judge said, "Okay." And we did that.
That's crazy. Did y'all have a full wedding?
We had a big wedding.
Wow.
And the funniest thing is, we thought that, not that I've never been a person that really cared how people thought back then. And I was just like, we were thinking like people are gonna like, "Man, he just got out of divorce. Like, what are our parents are gonna say?" I mean, both his mama and my mama is jumping up at, "You may now kiss the bride." Like, this should have happened a long time ago.
Wow. So y'all had good support.
Absolutely, because we realized that we married the wrong people for the right reasons.
Right.
He was the mother of his son.
Of course.
So that's what he thought he needed to do.
Right.
And I met someone else, and I thought that's what I needed to do, but it just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end of the day, it didn't work for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to do what we needed.
They had to circle back. As that's what they say, circling back. And that's a good time. That's the time when you can recommend.
Absolutely.
Circling back.
Yeah, go ahead and spin the block.
So spin the block. So how do you? Because I know you're not the only one that is in a second marriage.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? How is that for you?
It's very peaceful. I think that's what makes our marriage stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were married to other people before,
Mm-hmm.
we had an idea of what we want to happen with them that did not happen. And because we were friends,
Yeah.
like I can truly say he's my best friend. The time apart from when we were first dating to when we got back together was 10 years.
Wow. That's a long time.
It was. I mean, and we would talk to each other periodically. But it was, once we got back together, it was like we never skipped a beat.
Wow.
Never skipped a beat.
That's kind of romantic. Wow. 10 years?
10 years. And I literally, to this day, he used to write me letters. And I still have them. And I done moved from one state to another state. And one of the last ones I had read, actually just recently before we moved where we're at now, I found the letter, and it was just like, and at the end, when all of the clouds are gone, we will be together. Oh. I was just like, and we are.
He prophesied.
He did.
That relationship. So he's just not the king or the priest. He's the prophet.
He absolutely
of
is.
The home. Y'all see that?
Absolutely.
Prophet, priest, and king.
Absolutely.
Wow. So y'all on a good journey. 18 years?
Yes, we are.
Goodness gracious. 18 springs, 18 summers, 18 winters, 18 falls.
Absolutely.
All right. So what is the, like they always say, like, what's your key to happiness? What is your thing? What's your zen that makes everything works for you and your husband?
Being open and honest.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I know a lot of people in their marriage. Going into a marriage, even when you've been married to other people,
right?
Just remembering to leave that where it was.
Right.
Let your marriage be your marriage. You can't compare your partner to your last partner.
Right.
And being open and honest in your feelings and your communication. That's one thing I can say. We have great communication. I can say what I need to say. I can explain it more if it's taken wrong. But we never had that. So the one thing, is this a safe space?
Is this a safe space? I think it is.
Okay, y'all. I just want to tell y'all this. Don't y'all tell nobody.
Okay.
I ain't never had makeup sex because we ain't never broke up. So y'all have to tell me how that is later. Because it ain't perfect, but it's our marriage. But we ain't had those...
makeup sex?
Yeah, folks be
like if you have a fight.
Yeah.
And then y'all have sex to make up.
Yeah. Can y'all help me start a fight? No.
You don't want no fight if you ain't having no fight.
I mean, just it could be a fake fight.
But I mean, haven't you had an attitude? Y'all have never had like intense conversations that made you feel some kind of way? Huh?
I don't think so.
Well, what I would say is this. Just keep having the sex. You don't even have to put a prefix in front of it. Just have it.
I know, but y'all be talking about how great that is.
I've never said that.
Not you. But I heard it was.
But I'm sure it is, because I'm sure it's pretty passionate. It's pretty intense. You're getting out all of your stress. Yeah, but...
Okay. All right.
Okay, so now let me readjust. Because now I don't know. If you've never had, you blessed. That means you guys know how to resolve issues probably pretty quickly.
Absolutely. But we haven't, and I guess that's why I appreciate my marriage, because we haven't had to there was no reason to have that. Like I said, we were best friends for 10 years before getting married.
Okay.
So there's nothing that can be like thrown into this that would make it a curveball to have such big disagreements.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest disagreement would be if the tissue roll should be facing this way or that way.
You know what?
That's about it.
That's not everybody's testimony. That is not everybody's testimony. But I celebrate that because it just really does speak to a sense of maturity and just a sense of where you guys are. I mean, because as we're going to find out later on, as you continue to share, you guys have had so many other challenges.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's just the grace.
Yes.
That is carrying you. You know what I'm saying? That's far. And of course, everyone is going to come against something. And God's grace has really just been sustaining you. Because, I mean, I'm sure there are times when you may have felt some type of way about an issue, or he may have felt some type of way. But God gives you guys a way to resolve that quickly.
Yes.
Which is, yeah, that's a blessing.
It is. That's
everybody can.
Whatever is wrong, you have to speak about it, because that's the only way you can get past it. Okay. If there's anything wrong.
So I want to talk about wrong a little bit, but wrong in the sense of the different challenges that you guys have experienced, and you kind of walk through them together. I know that you've experienced a lot of loss, and then he has experienced a lot of loss. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So, we both have lost both our moms, both our dads, both a sibling, and grandparents. So this journey has been very rough. So for me, I'm pretty much the one left in my immediate family.
Right.
And I lost all of my people first, and then his people transition after. And I don't mean like years later. I mean back to back. My dad in 2013, his dad in 2014, then my grandma in 2015, and then his grandmama in 26. Like, it's literally been back to back. We've experienced a loss every year since 2013. Every year since 2013.
Wow. Okay.
And I was just like, once my sister passed, it was just like, oh my God, you got a sister too. I'm like, please. Like, I was like, and then for us, I crack a lot of jokes to deal with grief. So I was like, who be happy I ain't got no brothers.
Yeah.
So, but it's been rough. But I couldn't imagine going through this journey without him.
That got to bring you closer together too, though.
Absolutely. Because having him, if you haven't experienced loss, it's definitely, that could break up a marriage. Because for me, looking at all the people that I was losing, he still had these people,
right? And
so it's hard to look like I'm finna go to my mama's house. You know, it's like you still got your mother.
Yeah.
But he did. You know, he just held me.
Wow.
And I had to be able to explain some things to him, and I'm glad that I was open. I was like, one thing I don't want you to say to me is say, I know how you feel.
Right.
He never said that, because he didn't know how I feel until he felt it.
Right.
So
I like how you touched on the fact that a lot of loss can sometimes harm a marriage in such a way where it's hard to come back.
Right.
Because I've seen it where people just did not make it back.
Yeah.
What do you think, or what do you know that was holding you guys together?
I'll tell you. It was faith. It was definitely faith in God. And just the willingness to be present in the moment.
Right.
Allowing each other to experience the emotion, especially for us, since it was coming back to back like that. He's losing his mother. I already lost mom, so I'm still in the feeling of losing my mom. But then I have to shift, because it ain't just about me losing my mom now. Now he's lost his mom.
Right.
So it was just being able to be present for each other in that moment.
Wow.
Letting us experience whatever emotions that we had. at that moment.
And being okay
And
with
being
it.
okay.
Not
with
being afraid of how
Yes.
someone feels.
Yep.
That's so important too. Like when you with somebody, you can't be afraid of how they feel.
Right.
Even if it's something that you haven't experienced with them before.
Yes.
Because they grow. And I mean, if you be with somebody like the rest of their life, the way you met them at the beginning, they're not going to be the same. So that's admirable. So you talked about the faith is what held you together. Let's talk about this faith.
Okay.
I know that you guys are believers in Christ. But not only that, you're very active in your church.
Absolutely.
I want you to kind of touch on how you became even more active.
Okay. So we've been at our church for at least 15 or more years now. And we started out, of course, just regular members. And then they opened up a dance ministry. We're on the mime dance team. For those who don't know, mime dancing, we wear white paint and we do liturgical dancing through the live choirs that are singing, or sometimes we do dance off CD. That is definitely my husband's gift and passion. I enjoy seeing him do it more than I enjoy doing it with him. So, one of the things that came about was him becoming a deacon. He's definitely a deacon now. He's awesome.
But how many times was he asked?
Just a lot. He was asked a whole lot. He had to
be kicked into it.
He had to be kicked into it because, protocol was you can't be on this ministry and that ministry at the same time, but God. So, it took for our bishop to pull him in, and it was like, are you not saying yes because you think you won't be able to dance? And he was like, yes, that's why I'm not saying yes. And, our bishop said, well, that's not
right.
You can still dance. We definitely wouldn't pull you from that. So he said yes, but I can tell y'all all the times he was saying no, I was okay with him saying no, because I was just like, I'm not big on titles. So I get he's a deacon, and then I'm a deacon's wife, but I don't do titles. I'm just Mr. Webb's wife.
Which is a title. Which is a title.
So I didn't, and I was just looking, I was like, they look a little bougie up there. I don't want to be with them. I was like, half of them don't even speak to me now. I don't want them to be talking to me now just because I would be a deacon's wife. I was like, I don't know. And I would say it. I would say it out loud.
It's all right.
Because that was just how I felt, But,
But
God. They are
and now
great group of women. They have awesome husbands as well.
And your husband's amazing man of God. Amazing leader, amazing deacon.
Absolutely. And they have definitely wrapped their arms around us and embraced us. And it's a whole different support group. So I enjoy that. I definitely enjoy it. And you can talk to people. You're all on the same level, deacons' wives. You're all on the same level and can experience things from one another. So I definitely appreciate it.
It's like the iron sharpen iron.
Absolutely.
And everybody brings something different to the table.
Yes.
Like when we all get together, it's a bunch of us, but we're also different. And so then you get to kind of glean from each person. And then it lets you know, like, your way is not the only way. You know what I'm saying? Your marriage is not the only marriage, or your relationship is not the priority. It's everybody together is what makes it work. So I think that that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that that you finally accepted. Because listen, when we met, we knew of each other, but the way we met, she was having a procedure. And I don't know, God just put it in my heart. I don't even know why. He put it in my heart like, oh, let me just take her a care package, right? So I'm like, let me run over here for about 10 minutes and drop off this care package for her or whatever. I did not leave her house for 2 to 3 hours. We sat and we talked such a long time. I didn't even know it. My husband even texts like, where are you? I'm like, at Miss Brandy Webb's house. He was like, who? I'm like, Brandy Webb. I know, right? Who'd have thunk it, as they say. Um, but it was priceless. I always think too, like she's the relationship I didn't know I needed. You know what I'm saying? And for us as women, we can't just dismiss everything. You don't know what you need. You don't know what you need. So you have to be open to it. And I'm a pretty open person, but I'm also reserved or nervous because I never know what somebody is thinking about me, right? Come to find out she was thinking some things about me. She was. But she was like, okay, it's not like that. You know, so she let me in too. And I was so grateful for that. But I found so much value since we're reminding women about value. I found so much value just in her conversations, in her presence, getting to know her family. I find it extremely valuable. Can you tell us, what do you think that village is for you?
For me, the village, it's actually something that I didn't know I needed as well. And I say that because my mom passed, my sister passed, and it was like, what am I going to do? I said to God, like, I don't know. I used to say before my sister passed, when she goes, I'm going to lose my mind. I will have no one else to talk to. I don't have anybody else. And so he gave me you guys to help with that. And so I definitely would have never thought that because I'm just like, my sister is gone. Who can I be me with? Everybody don't understand me. I'm not for everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So how can I actually wholeheartedly rely on someone else that don't truly know me other than my sister?
Right.
But in this time, I definitely can say I have enjoyed every one of the fellowships that we have had. It has it has let me meet new people. It has let me understand that we're pretty much all going through some of the same stuff, just on different levels, and just being able to be there. So I appreciate it.
So now you brought up your sister, and I want you to just hit a couple things, and this is just personal about you. We know Mr. Webb. We love Mr. Webb, but I want to talk more about Brandy. You brought up your sister, and I think you talked a little bit about your mom passing or what have you. Tell me about that. Share what you want to share about that.
Absolutely. So my sister, we were 5 years apart. She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer when she was 40 years old. So with that, and that was also right after my mom got diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis. So she needed a double lung transplant. In that diagnosis came about some genetic testing. So when you get diagnosed with cancer, they before they do any kind of surgery, they do a top to bottom, head to toe testing to see if they can do surgery. And then they asked her if she wanted to do genetic testing, and she said yes. So she had it's called the BRCA2 gene, or the BRCA2 gene. And so because she had it, we had to figure out if it came from our mom's side or our dad's side, and it came from our father's side. And I completed the genetic testing as well. So I have the BRCA2 gene. And for those who don't know what that is, it means that I was at elevated levels, so over 85% risk of getting breast cancer. So I'm like, oh, okay. So, and the same gene that causes breast cancer causes cervical and ovarian cancer. So they was like, well, you need to do something about that. I said, what does that mean? They was, well, you need to have a double mastectomy, and you need to get your fallopian tubes and ovaries removed. I said, I mean, all at once? Like, that doesn't sound great. But at that time, I was the caretaker to my mom. So I was like, well, I have to do the procedure that won't keep me down as much. So I had my cervical and my fallopian tubes and ovaries removed at the age of 36. So I've been in menopause since then. And then my mom transitioned. I was taking care of my sister. Right before she passed, we talked about getting the surgery, because without having the surgery, the double mastectomy first, they wanted to make sure that the cancer, if it started forming, that they catch it. So I would have to go do the mammogram 3 times a year. Yes. So the one where the hands, then they do the one with the machine, and then they do the MRI. Yeah. So that if some reason something starts forming, they would be able to catch it. They would catch it. So right before my sister passed, she talked about me getting the surgery, and I was like, why? I go 3 times a year, and she didn't want me to go through what she went through. Right. So I said, okay, I will do it. She transitioned, and then so later that year I did complete the surgery, had the double mastectomy, breast reconstructed from belly fat, and that's called a deep flap procedure versus having implants or anything like that, because I didn't want anything foreign in my body. So with that, it was just called a preventative surgery. So now my chances of getting breast cancer is less than 2%. Come on. Yes. Thank you, sister. You're welcome. As she rests in peace. I'm talking about your sister that pushed you to do that. Absolutely. And your baby. Yeah. So with me having the BRCA2 gene, that means all of my children, including males. Oh. Yes. Okay. Males can have breast cancer too. Okay. And I think it causes colon cancer for males. So all of them need to get tested to make sure that they don't have it, but it shouldn't start till the age of 21. Okay. Is what they said. But my daughter she was actually just diagnosed with stage 3 triple negative breast cancer. She got diagnosed in Texas. My God. So we moved her home. She's been going through chemo. She has one more round in October and then surgery. Wow. How are you? How you doing? I am good. It's a lot that goes on. But God has sustained us. That's all I can say. Again, I was told that I've been an encouragement for many people. It's not something that I'm setting out to do. I'm just me. Right. And I asked God one day, like, I definitely am going through a lot. Like, why? And he told me that good and bad simultaneously runs in my life at the same time. And it's up to me on what I choose to focus on. And so I do choose to focus on the good, because the bad can definitely take you out. Right. It's a lot to have to focus on. When you start focusing on bad, you can go down the rabbit hole. So I choose to focus on the good. Good. And because that's what's going to keep me. Right. I definitely could have lost my mind a long time ago. And when people asked me, like, how do you do that? I said, you can't really ask me that, because it's not me. It's nothing but God. Right. If you were looking for Brandy's response, I probably would have told everything up. Right. But I'm on assignment. And I gotta take care of my kids. I am. And is. Yes. So because she's also an aspiring minister. Oh, that's a whole different assignment. So yes, she's on assignment. And so I know you love to talk. You love to engage. What another opportunity to be able to do that. I don't see that as a woman that carries the gospel. How is that journey as we add that into your pot and mix that in? That is a journey that I'm tiptoeing down. I'm in there. Another thing she kept saying no to. This is true. And I'm in it, but I'm just allowing God to use me in whatever way that He has to use me. I must say it's different. It is. It's definitely different. And I just want to be the best that I can be. I want to do what He wants me to do, and I want to say what He wants me to say. Because for so long, I've asked for my purpose. And this is what He's saying. I'm just yes. And I'm just if you trying. Ask, He just might answer. Yes. Wow. How has this new yes in your life affected your home? Come on now. I gotta leave it. I gotta leave it on Thursdays now. Right. I know, right? I would say it's been great. It's definitely an addition. I've always been a praying woman, so just being able to just seek more, and once you get that, yes, the bishop did say, the enemy is not gonna he's gonna come harder, and I'm like, Bishop, you know everything I've been through. What?
Right.
Huh?
What else?
What harder?
Come on now.
Look,
What else?
I've lost my whole family. Don't come no harder than that.
Right,
But
right.
I already know with all things and through things with God, we will never fail.
My God.
So
I just heard you say something like, I lost my whole family. That's not just a little byline. That's like for real, for real.
for real, for real.
So how have you built up a community for yourself, for your husband?
So, man, it's different. It's very different. So for him, him being on the deacons ministry, that has been a brotherhood like no other. He does have a brother, but as far as like male friends that he can go to, fellowship, he didn't have that because he's, as very much as I am talkative, he's very much very quiet. So, I've enjoyed that for him.
Right, of course.
We've needed that. And especially going through what we're going through. You can't always tell people what you're going through because everybody's not going to understand it. But being on this ministry, I have found it of great value to be able to say, okay, we going through this, please send up a prayer for us. Okay. And really know that it's going to happen. Because everybody, if you post on Facebook, praying, and they ain't. They just
praying hands.
Right. The
praying hands. I do say a little prayer. Lord, help.
Correct.
Lord, do
But other people aren't.
Right.
So when we do that, we know that for sure, at least that group is doing it.
They're going to rally.
We don't have to worry about that.
Right. And outside of that group, do you need to enlarge your coast? Expand your territory?
I would say no, because I wanted to do it. I've tried to do that by myself. And God was like, I don't know why you're doing that. Right. The people that are for you are going to be there for you. True. And I have them for you. Because I used to want to that. Because I was like, man, I'm so genuine. I'm so funny. Why don't people want to be around me? But someone had it. It was actually Elder Valerie.
Okay.
There's some people I don't like going to their house. Not for bad reasons. But my husband had to go fix something at her house. And she said, and bring your wife. Ooh. I didn't want to go. And she told me, we had never had any conversations. And she told me, stop trying to fit in with people. You think you're not being invited, for a bad reason. No, they see on you what you don't see on you. So the things that they doing, they know you wouldn't do. Right. And I said, can see that. I said, okay. Yeah. I just had to be okay. I said, okay. Because it gave me the answer to the question that I wanted. My goodness. I felt that they didn't want to be around me. Like, what was I doing wrong? And they was like, no, they seen something on me. Like, we not finna do that around her. And I even asked, after she told me that, I literally went to like ask them that. I was like a validation. Like, right. Why y'all never invite me? Y'all know I want to go. And they was like, no, you are a saved friend. Because, if we need something, we need to get a prayer to God. Right. I'm calling you for this. But over here, you can't come. Right. No, you're not. I said, okay. So you understand now. I do. That, to be honest, you're really being sanctified. Yeah. Set apart. Absolutely. Or what have you. Right. How much more valuable do you feel knowing this, getting your answer, understanding that it was never about you per se. Right. But it was about the God in you and what he has for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How do you feel about that? I mean, it's a different kind of feeling. It's very humbling for me. Right. It's not something like, oh, I'm better than this person. Right. But it's very humbling because it's, knowing people that respect the calling on your life. If they're not seeing it or saying it as that, that's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. To not want to put me in such a situation to where it would compromise me in any kind of way, or the way that they felt about me.
Right.
So I embrace it. I enjoy it, and I just try to daily die and say, not my will, God, but yours.
Right.
Tell me what I need to say. Tell me what I need to do. And he does it. And one of the things, like when you had came to my house, like if God tells me to go speak to someone or do something, I go and do it. Uh-huh. If he tells me to apologize, if he tells me anything, I'm going to do it. And that's one thing that I value, because there's been many disagreements with people, but I found out it was them and not me. Mm-hmm. But if I see it on your face when we're talking that you don't huh?
All of them was them?
When I say them, I don't mean, because I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it in a way. So like people have disagreements all the time. Or we have conversations where when you heard it, you thought one thing, mm-hmm. but it was really something else. But there are people who thinks that a conversation or a disagreement is a confrontation, but no, it's a conversation. Okay. And there are many people who don't go into those because they feel like it's an argument, and it's not. Mm-hmm. So when I say that it was them and not me, it's because this is what they told me, and we mm-hmm. found out in the end it wasn't never a fight. It was well, I thought you were this way because of this. And I'm like, well, why didn't you say that? And they was like, well, just because I just thought, I was like, wow, I'm glad we got this figured out. Right. Because,
but you're not afraid of conversation.
I'm not. And I love a conversation because it clears things up. I don't want people to shut down. I'd give you your space. If I saw it, like if I seen something on somebody's face, I would give them the space, but I would definitely address it, because I don't want that. Because once you leave something like that, anything that from these people, anything that I was saying and doing, they didn't like me because of it.
Right. See, that's a growth area for me. I admire people who can just address things right away. Yeah. Like I totally admire, because that's not me. I just, okay, that's how you are. I back up, because I'm always afraid that I'm going to pop all the way off.
No.
So actually, you probably know how to stagger yourself. So you got that right. What is some of the growth areas of what are some of your growth areas? Like I've just shared one of mine. Like I'm not the best with a little bit of confrontation or intense fellowship. I like peace. Anytime it just gets, stuff start getting louder, mm-hmm. and the attitude start, I'm like, woo, you know what? Done. Bye. What's some of your growth area?
Growth area for me was letting my husband lead, let him be the man, and not emasculating him. It's something that you don't realize that you're doing. So
it's so deep.
Anytime your husband, so for me, and when I say that, the example is when we came back together, mm-hmm. I was already established. I had children. Mm-hmm. I had my own house. I was doing my own things. My budget was already set. My bills was already set. I know many ladies aren't like me, but I am me. So when he came into the house, I was happy to have him in my life. Yeah. Because of everything we've been through. This is the man I've been wanting to be with for a very long time. So I was already paying bills. And he had to say to me like, no, I'm not some kind of moocher. I'm not a leech. I'm a man. Like I'm going to pay bills. And I'm like, well, I don't know which bills you're going to pay, because this one is already covered.
I can never understand that.
And it's
pay all of them. Right. You hear me?
And as simple as that is,
take it. Because let me move out the way. You know what? Rain on my bill table. I don't get it. But go ahead, Miss Independent. Dependent.
As simple as we thought that was, that is all the way wrong.
Right.
Because now, for a real man, you're making him feel like less of a man. Mm-hmm. Because he's not there to just leech off you. He's there to add value. And again, this was done as my husband.
I can't even believe y'all had the conversation, but okay.
Because because it comes from my mom. My mom raised, she was very strong. She did things like that. So
mine too. Go on.
So I don't know. I just was so used to doing it, and I wasn't trying to.
Right.
I had a system.
I totally
to
get it.
regroup.
Now, honestly, after all the jokes aside, I totally get it. But it's so dependent.
Yes.
Dependent.
God had to take away my job, and I didn't have no choice but to rely on him. That was hard too, though.
Yeah,
that's hard. That's hard.
But I mean, that's admirable for you to admit that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we as women stay stuck in, well, I mean, I didn't need I didn't need that. But you understood that it was so beyond just about you.
Yes.
That it would affect, first of all, it's gonna affect how you see him eventually. Yeah. But it also affected him as a person.
Right.
Wow.
And that's the part. That was the part for me. Right. Because if anybody knows, I love that man. Now that don't
she loves
come
Mr.
wrong.
Webb.
Don't come wrong with him. Like, you can say whatever you want to me. Don't say nothing. Don't put your lips on my man.
I'm like that too. But yeah, I really admire that. That's a good thing. That's a good thing to constantly be reminded of too, because God allows women to be strong. He has made us in such great ways. Yes, we are a wife, but he did not make us empty. Right. Our jar has things in it. Absolutely. And so there are things that we can do, and there are things that we are equipped with, and yet it still needs to stay within the confines. Yes. Of our relationship, and making sure that it does not get out of pocket with what the vision is for the home. Right. So I really thank you. That's a mature thing. Anything else you want to share? Any of your growth moments? No, I think that's about it that I have at the moment that I can think of. Just want to make sure Willie know he's a man. Absolutely. He is the man. The man, not a man. He is the man. That is cool. I admire that. I'm happy about that. Okay, so we knew we wanted to have this conversation. I'm super glad that we did. Is there anything else that you wanted to leave with WIFERSATIONS today? I would say, ladies, be you. Be you in your marriage. Be you in your home. Be you out wherever you're at. There's only one you. Never let never let your heart harden to things that happened to you in the past. If you want, whatever you want to do, keep your eyes focused on that. Let your marriage be your marriage. Don't compare it to any other marriage, because your husband ain't their husband. Right. And you as somebody's wife ain't somebody else's wife. And just communicate. That's the best thing that we have going. That's good. From a talker. Yes. From a talker. I'm so grateful. That's important. It is. Wow. That's your superpower. It is. Communication. And if you feel like, here's another little tidbit. If you feel like you can't talk, let me tell you, write it down. Anything you want to say to your husband, write it down. If you feel like you can't talk because they might interrupt, write it down. Because guess what they won't do? They won't stop reading the paper and throw it away. So therefore, you've gotten everything that you needed to get out. Girl, you sound like a seasoned woman. She sound like a woman of season. Is that what 18 years will do? That's what 18 years 18 really plus another 10. Then a couple behind. Yeah. Wow. That's what it'll do. I'm proud of you. Thank you. So proud of you. And I'm so happy for this conversation. We will definitely have more of them, but this one here for me is one of my priceless moments with this woman of value, Miss Brandy Webb, the entrepreneur. What's your business? Webb of Creations. Webb of Creations. You do what? I make t-shirts and bags. All kinds. All kinds. All kinds. How can we find you? You can find me on Facebook. I am going to build a business page, but Webb of Creations is on Facebook. Awesome. Okay. So, the entrepreneur, the woman of God, beautiful are the feet that carry the gospel, the mother, and definitely a good friend, but more than anything, she is Mr. Webb's wife, and we got a chance to talk to her on WIFERSATIONs. I am so grateful. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Have a blessed one. Yes, we're done. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. It is our hope that you have enjoyed this podcast and that you would click and subscribe. Also, feel free to share these episodes as ministry tools. Once again, thank you for sharing with us and come back again. We look forward to many opportunities to be a blessing to you.